Hi everyone, I'm working on Celtic Summer here, and I'm just thinking about answering a question that I was asked. What is my favourite fabric count to work on? This is a very high fabric count, it's 28, which means that the holes are going to be much smaller than if, for instance, you were to buy a 14 count fabric. So basically you're getting 14 holes per inch of fabric as opposed to 28 holes per inch of fabric. So the higher the count you go, the smaller your holes are going to be. Now, my answer to the question itself is that I haven't used or tried every single count, but when I buy a kit, for instance, if I was to buy a cross-stitch kit, it usually comes with the fabric itself, and that's usually the fabric that the designer or manufacturer has deemed to be best for that particular design. So I'm quite happy to go along with that. There will be other times when I have to choose my fabric, and that is if I download a PDF of some kind and I need to actually choose my own fabric count. So then it gets a little bit more tricky. What I'll do is I have to take into consideration what I'm comfortable with and what the actual finished result will be. So I'll have to look at the design itself and decide how big I want it to be, because another factor is that the smaller the holes are, the smaller the design will be, and the bigger the holes are, the bigger the design will be at the end. So you might have your basic chart, but whichever fabric you choose to cross stitch on is going to make a huge difference to the end result and to the actual size of the finished cross stitch piece. But you can always order some samples, and there's many craft shops that will allow you to order some little samples of fabric, and you can test out your stitching on that fabric, and then you can do a few rows and see which one suits you the best. So I got some samples of some very small varying fabric counts, and I just wanted to see which one suited me. I even tried tent stitch along some of them. Now the one that I found most difficult was 32 count. I think once I got to past 28 count, it's game over for me. I couldn't see. I mean, I was very surprised that I could actually see 28 count, which I'm using here. But when it got any higher than that, it just became impossible. And I don't really want to be magnifying things. I want to be able to enjoy them. I don't work in a laboratory. I mean, I know people enjoy things enough and they're quite comfortable and using magnifiers, and that's absolutely fine. But for my personal comfort, I want to be able to see my design, and even with this particular one, I will find it difficult to do at night. When it's not as bright, you don't get the natural daylight. It is going to be more tricky to see these holes. So yes, my answer to that is it will depend on the design and what I choose and the finished result. And also a tip for you there is to get some sample fabrics and try some different stitches on them and see which one you like the best. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.